Alright, now we're moving on to a different type of example. Same thing, law of sines, but this time there's no picture. Given the measures of triangle ABC, find the indicated measure. They want us to round again the same thing, round to the nearest degree, and side measures to the nearest tenth. I did make these changes to the notes, so make sure that you change these so that I can give you an example um, for this one where we're actually trying to find an angle. We kind of have to find an angle, and you'll see when we draw this. So first, let's go ahead and start sketching a triangle. Now, I don't have information about this triangle. I don't know if it's a right triangle, obtuse, acute, so I'm just going to go ahead and just do any triangle. If you're going to label the angles first, just make sure that it doesn't matter the order that you choose, but after you establish this order, then the opposing sides, like I had mentioned, the angle A is here, and directly across it, you have to put lowercase a. And across this angle C, you have to put this lowercase c and lowercase b. Okay. Now let's fill in the information. They're telling us that angle A is 37 degrees. I changed it to this, so make a change. So this is going to be now 4.5, and lowercase a is going to be 3, and they want us to find measurement of angle B. They had asked us to solve the right triangle. We could have chosen a different path as well, or a different angle, but you're going to see that we really have no option but to choose that one. Alright, like I had mentioned earlier, we first have to look for an opposing pair that is known. If I choose angle B, the one that I'm looking for, directly across it, I know the side, but remember, you want to start off with both known. So I cannot start off with this opposing pair. I go to angle C, there's nothing there, neither on the opposite side, so I can't even choose that one. But I know angle A, I know it's 37, they labeled it, and directly across it, I have lowercase a. So once again, this is what I'm referring to, your first opposing pair. So the opposing known pair, and opposing pair, I guess I should mention it's the angle and the side. The opposing pair, angle, and side. Now I'm going to go ahead and start my law of sines. Again, because I don't know if this is a right triangle, so I cannot use regular standard trig for this. Start by saying sine of the angle known, 37 degrees, over its opposite known side, which is 3, is equivalent to, and now we have to set up another ratio here. And this is where I was indicating where, even though they were asking for angle B, I cannot choose angle C or even this side because there's no known information. So you always want to go with another opposing pair where at least one information is given, whether it's the angle or the side. Kind of stuck choosing this one right here. I'm going to say sine. Now here's the difference between this example and the other one. This time I don't know that angle. I'm going to just use that variable b. You could use x if you wanted to, over 4.5. Same thing as before, I'm going to go ahead and cross multiply to solve this. Now, I don't need the diagram, so let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit more on this equation. And again, I want to cross multiply usually the one that has the variable first. If they both have it, doesn't really matter. But in this case, b is the variable that I'm looking for, so I'm going to say 3 times sine of angle b is equivalent to, again, cross multiply this way, 4.5 times sine of 37 degrees. Now let's go ahead and remember we want to isolate this variable, so I need to get rid of the times 3 first. So I have to divide by 3, divide by 3. I'm left with sine of b is equivalent to this expression right here, 4.5 times sine of 37. And notice that I'm kind of holding off on the calculator use until the very end. Now remember that at the very beginning or in right triangle trig, anytime you were looking for the angle, I kind of mentioned that we're going to use inverse trig. Remember that those are the ones with, the sine, inverse of sine with the -1, cosine -1, tangent, depending on the trig function that I'm using. Now it is law of sine, so more likely I'm going to have to use this right here. And you can see back, if we go back to our equation, how in order to solve for b, which is an angle, I must know the inverse of sine. Well, not know, but I have to apply the inverse of sine to both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and say sine inverse of sine of b, and sine inverse, because whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other side. And this is just to maintain equality. Now this is how this will cancel out. So I'll be left with angle B, again, is equivalent to this expression. Okay, let me change it to brackets. So I'm already using parentheses inside here. So 4.5 times sine of 37 degrees divided by 3. Once again, this is my exact answer. But if you wanted to, you can use your calculator to give the approximation. So I would go to my calculator, sine inverse. Now this one, you kind of do have to make sure that this calculator is in radians, in degrees. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click up here. This does say degree right there. So I'm going to go ahead and now calculate this right here. Sine inverse of 4.5 times sine of 37. If you want to be consistent, you can put the degree symbol divided by divided by 3. I'll hit enter, we get the approximation 64.5. Now the directions did specify that they wanted the angles rounded to the nearest degree. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and put 64. Well, I'll leave it at 64.5 degrees. When you input your answers, I'll give a tolerance as far as the angle measurements. So if you don't get the exact, even with the rounded, that will be fine. Now, this one's particular example just wanted us to find this angle B, but if I wanted to then proceed to finding the other angles, once I know that this is 64.5 or the 65, then I can use it, the same way I had done before. I can proceed to using law of sines. This one I'm going to have to use the sum of the angles equals 180, and then set it up for this one. But in this example, I'm just going to go ahead and stop there.